like to give you a little history of how this whole thing got started. From what I understand from our bus captain, whose name was Gary, I got it here somewhere. Lawrence, Gary Lawrence was our bus captain. And according to him, there was a PA in Indianapolis, VA, physician's assistant, who had a couple World War II veterans he was taking care of. And as the story goes, he asked them if they'd ever been to DC to the memorials, and they said no. And he said, well, would you like to go? So he proceeded to put him in his car and drive him to DC. And as the story goes, a few weeks later, here came 3 more veterans. And they asked him, said, we understand that you take people to DC to see the memorials. He says, well, would you like to go? And he took them. And I think the story said it evolved into a van that he got, and then a small plane, and then thus started honor flight. And I'd like to tell you my day, how it started. My daughter, who's here with me today, somewhere, she was the one that instigated this thing. She signed me up for it, and it took about a year, I believe, to get response. But one day, Gary Lawrence called and asked for an interview with me. They came right here to St. Paul's in my room to verify that I was a bona fide veteran and I could get around seemingly well. And they checked me all out. And my day started, well actually, my daughter and I drove to Indy the Friday night before and got a room because we had to be at the Plainsville High School gym by 4:30 Saturday morning. And when we got there, we had a breakfast like you couldn't believe. They give us the whole hot breakfast. It was great. And we got on school buses and had a police escort all the way over to the Indianapolis airport. And as we pulled in, the fire department had the hoses hooked up on ladders, and they were giving us a big water salute. And as we entered the airport, I couldn't imagine the people that was greeting us. And just as we got ready to board the plane for DC, here are these young ladies dressed like in the 40s, had the 40 hairdo. I had lipstick all over the top of my head and all over my face by the time I got on that airplane. So now we're off to DC. We landed there probably about 8 or 8:30. And again, as we entered the airport from the plane, here was hordes of people. And again, here were these beautiful little young ladies waiting to kiss us. We boarded, and we had a little slight rain when we got off of the airplane, got on the big buses. So they tried to kill a little time. We got around DC, some of the points, and the rain would let up. We finally went to the World War II Memorial. From there, we could see the Korean and the veteran all in one shot. And it was just, and yeah, I'm being a little prejudiced, I suppose. I was in the Korean conflict. But the Korean Memorial will just take your heart, because you've got about 9, which is a platoon of soldiers in rain gear, ponchos, just like you would be going into battle. And you could see the grief on their faces. They were so real. That's what took me. Anyway, we got to see all the memorials. Then we got out to Arlington And oh, what an impressive show that was. They had special metal pieces on their heels that would spark when saluting us veterans that were there. It was a special occasion, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. And then we left and back to the airport to fly back, and we're airborne, and they give us a nice box lunch on the airplane. And just before we got ready to land, they asked how many remembers mail call, and I had an envelope of mail from the governor of Indiana, well, a lieutenant governor of Indiana, all the way down to my kindergarten relation. It took me 3 days. Took me 3 days to read that mail. It was a great day. I recommend it to anybody. And by the way, I got a picture down here. They give it. Isn't that ugly? Everybody got one of these. I thought my show was over when we got back to the airport. My daughter's wheeling me to the car, and she says, "No, Dad, we got to go in and get your picture." When we went into this high school gym, here was, I almost forgot to tell you this, here was bagpipes was blowing off and marching, and all of a sudden they hand my daughter this picture, and the thing was, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts pushed me in my wheelchair into the gym with my daughter walking behind all of us with that one of their pictures like that. We went into this gym, and I was told it was about 4,000 people in that gym. You couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe it. It was awesome. And just before I got onto the gym floor, again, here was these beautiful little girls ready to kiss me. I didn't want to wash my face for a week. That's all I got to say.